Some luxury vehicles have drivetrains that are so reliable that these vehicles can run 200, 300, 400,000 miles, and yet other vehicles in the luxury car segment have drivetrains that are so unreliable you'll spend every second month stop by your service department, bend over, grab those ankles, and kiss it all goodbye. Well, guess what? I'm going to share a list of 5 of the most reliable engines that will allow those luxury cars to run forever. Let's get into it now.
Life's too short to drive boring cars.
So the first vehicle on our list with some of the most robust, long-lasting engines that will keep that vehicle on the road for hundreds of thousands of miles is... No, it's not a Range Rover. It's right over there. This little SUV that we see right here packaged in this dark gray is clearly a BMW. Let's take a quick walk around. Okay, this latest BMW has the Liberace style headlights, as you see that beautiful look. Of course, they have the updated revised style kidney grills, and naturally, they've got vents, beautiful alloys, all kinds of extra vents, fold-away mirrors, and look, nice chrome detail, as well as the sunroof on the roof, and look, LED taillights. This one is the X3. But the X3 carries a few different drivetrain options, and this is the one that I'm speaking of, and it's the X-Drive 30i. That means it's all-wheel drive, and the 30i represents the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine called the B48 engine, and I believe BMW has finally found the sweet spot. Now, while they're not perfect, it's not going to be a Lexus. It is probably really close, and you could definitely get at least 100, 150,000 miles before you start to worry about any sort of coolant leaks. Why? Because this B48 engine under the hood here has 255 horse, a light hybrid assist in later generations. It's coupled up to the 8-speed ZF automatic transmission, which we already know is bulletproof, but it's that very engine under here that is quite stout. It's a lot better than the old outgoing engines. Remember the old N20 with rattling timing chain problems, B47, and a lot of their diesel issues? They went through a lot of hardships with a lot of their garbage engines, but now finally BMW, since about 2018, has chiseled their way out of the hole and found themselves with a drivetrain, not by accident, that is far more superior, better performing, better, more economical, and certainly a lot more reliable than some of their outgoing engines. Now, it's a 4-cylinder engine. You can find it in vehicles like this, and because it's both potent as well as reliable, BMW is sticking with what they know. Why? Because they've made some drastic changes. Yes, not just does it put down decent power, but they've done some major improvements. The timing system, you don't have the timing chain issues in the B48. You also don't have weak fuel injectors in this particular engine. You don't have problems with the up and down swings and temperatures that are impacting the plastics and the fittings under the hood, because it's got heat encapsulation. It's got a whole host of upgrades, even including the bottom end of the engine, makes this engine far more robust. Now, I'm not going to pretend that it will never break, and I'm never going to say that it will never leak, but it's going to hold up 10 times better than some of the older drivetrains. And when you really get down to it, by the time people sell these after 6 or 7 or 8 years, you're probably sick of it anyway. And the average person puts on, 15,000 miles a year, 10 years, 150,000 miles. That's probably the time the vehicle's kind of on the way out the door anyway. And the reality is the engines fundamentally are far better. It's just you got to keep up with some of the maintenance, water pumps, thermostats, and of course, with that said, a lot of the fittings, of course, they're snapped together and they have a potential for cracking and failing with time. But the B48 engine is one definitely you want to consider for long life and reliability. And right there's the next one. A whole multitude of different products from Lexus and Toyota use the next great engine on my list. Obviously, the list goes on and on, from vehicles like the Toyota Camry all the way down to Lexus vehicles like here we see the Lexus ES350. And we see other vehicles from Toyota like the Sienna, and the list goes on, quite frankly. And what we have here is another Lexus, very similar, RX 350. It does have this beautiful detail right here. I love the looks of it. These beautiful styled handles on this Lexus RX. It does have the LC500 mirrors on there. And of course, you do get a sunroof on top to enjoy all this sunlight that you get on a daily basis. Of course, laser cut rims, and naturally you get these beautiful headlights right here. Now, this here is a slightly older style of the big mouth grille, clearly not the latest and the greatest, because the latest has a much more pronounced bullnose on top, and it's pretty obvious that's the new generation that does not have the engine that you find under the hood of this great vehicle. These are absolutely fantabulous. And what we're dealing with is a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6 engine under the hood of this vehicle and many Toyotas. So anything back in this generation that's older than 2 or 3 years, you're gonna find an engine in Toyota or Lexus under that hood that's gonna reflect some of their most reliable drivetrains ever. Why? Well, it's naturally aspirated V6. It runs sideways, multi-port fuel injection and direct injected to make sure that you don't have a buildup of carbon, as well as you get the proper metering and fueling on that vehicle. And these engines vary anywhere from about 270 up to about 315 horsepower, depending on which vehicle and which state of trim. The Lexus IS and the ES models are my personal favorites that carry that engine, but unfortunately those engines are going away. Get them while they're hot, because the engine you're going to find in these vehicles with the 350 designation like we see right here are going to be the 2GR FKS, and it's a V6. And quite frankly, that engine was the bread and butter for Lexus for so many years and Toyota that they've kept it on and on and on. It almost became old hat and old news. But times are changing and regulators are getting fussier, and it's time for a little extra competitive change. So now they've gone and changed that and replaced it with a 2.4 liter turbo 4. Not clearly the same level of reliability, but time will tell. And another engine in a vehicle that I would trust for hundreds of thousands of miles in the luxury car segment is one of these. Now, it should be of no surprise, this is essentially the luxury arm of Honda. And here we have an Acura. This is an MDX, and it's all-wheel drive. Does that mean it's super happy? Or is it hacky sack backwards? No, I think it means they're trying to sleep. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually super handling. That's right, all-wheel drive system in a lot of these Acura vehicles carry that designation. Of course, you do get the big, obviously big, beautiful tin cans down there, big LEDs. Now here's the slightly older generation. This one's an A-spec MDX, all-wheel drive there too. And obviously we have two of them, newer, older. Look at the exhaust tips. I love the tips, the round ones on there, over there. But it's not about the cosmetics, it's what's inside that counts. Of course, you get this beautiful chrome detail down here. Beautiful, look at that little LED strip right there, as opposed to the older one. This actually runs the whole length. This one here is just that nice little tip right there. Love this chrome detail. Big sunroof on top there, as opposed to the older one here, which actually has a much smaller sunroof. And this one obviously has this nice chrome around the window, and this one, a little blacked out here, not quite as bold. But they're both great cars, and they both carry the same engine, and it's the Honda J35 series of engines under that hood there, and that's why that's the one I would trust dearly. Now, it does come with an automatic transmission as well, and some Hondas have had a few issues with automatics here and there. It's a few drivability issues, but generally that engine is absolutely bulletproof and certainly good for tons of miles. Why? Well, it comes with a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6 engine, turned sideways, and it's also 60 degrees, which isn't as wide as the V6s, which are normally 90 degrees. These are a little tighter because they want to fit them in there, transversely mounted, of course, and they also have a shorter stroke. There is a very torquey engine that can produce anywhere from 260 up to about 300 horsepower. They are, in fact, just direct injected, and would you believe it, those engines only have a timing belt. That's right, interestingly enough, the Honda products stick with the belts as compared to the Lexus, which goes with the timing chain, and of course they go with the multi-port and the direct fuel injection, which many would argue that Lexus is a superior product. However, the downfall is that V6 engine in the Lexus fold is going away, so unless you get one of the last of that dying breed, you probably won't be able to get that engine anymore. But Acura right here has an engine that's good for hundreds of thousands of miles. Now the beauty is that engine can be found in a pile of Honda products like the older Honda Accords, the Pilots, the Ridgelines, and as well on top of it, this engine can be found in this vehicle, the MDX, TLX, RLX, and RDX. So it's a versatile drivetrain with good performance, beautiful technology, and it's a stylish looking vehicle. The Honda and Acura J35 3.5 liter V6 engine for the win. And the next one on the list is another one from the Bavaria barn burner. And what we're looking at right here is another BMW. But this one's kind of exclusive and unique. It carries a slightly larger engine. Now, what we're looking at here is the older generation, and I wouldn't recommend going with this one here. This one here, you'll notice xDrive 35i. That means it comes with the N55. That's the single turbo twin scroll 6-cylinder 3-liter engine, but that's the older variation. Nah, nix that. Go with the engine that comes with the newest generation of the BMW X5 right there. And it usually has a script written over here, 40i. or M40i. Anything with the 40 series BMW engines, for example, on the X5, X6, we might see a 40i here. X3s, you can get the 40i. X4s, you can get the 40i. 540, 340, 440, 240, all of those that say 40i on the script are the ones that carry the engine that I have to talk about. Yes, BMW has had a lot of struggles, a lot of uphill climbs, and N63 engine, the twin turbo V8s have been a catastrophe. S63, high maintenance dollar beast. They've had a lot of problems. N20 engines, the turbo 4s, and some of their diesels blowing timing chains, burning oil, and blowing up catastrophically. But things have been changing from the old days of the S65 and the S85 naturally aspirated high revving V10s and V8s. No, things are much better now, and they've even been ranked over certain models of Hondas by Consumers Reports, allegedly. Now, time will tell and put enough miles on, and that will really tell the story. But the reality is, a lot of Honda people can afford to buy and fix those cars. BMW is the only thing that hurts a modern day BMW is neglect and abuse, because the engines under these hoods with the 40 series are some of the most reliable engines that you can possibly get now in some of these modern day BMWs. Now, here we're looking at an X5. This is one of the most popular models. I'm just giving you the rundown, but you get it in all the cars and SUVs. That 40 series engine is one of their workhorses, and you'll find it in just about every model. They always have the one touch in, and naturally you get lots of sunlight coming into the cabin for a bunch of happy little people, because they signed on the dotted line and got themselves that B58 engine, which is that 40 series. So the B58 engine is now a 3-liter twin scroll single turbo engine, which vastly been improved from the outgoing N55. Yes, the B58 now, they've gotten rid of the problematic water pump that was electric before. The bottom end of the engine is much more reinforced with stronger crank journals, and it's a beefier engine all the way around. Gone are the piezo injectors you saw in the N54, gone, junk. Now they've got a much more reliable injector system. They've got a much more reliable turbo system with one turbo, wastegate, variable geometry, very durable drivetrain, very durable engine. You also have heat encapsulation, which means it buffers the swings in temps. So you have the engine temp that goes really high, really low, really high, really low. It regulates that, so it limits the amount of high and low swings within the engine, because it's all those big temperature alterations which really wreak havoc on all the plastic fittings, the water pumps, the thermostats, the connect snap together fittings. That all takes a beating and starts cracking and splitting and leaking because of high and cold temperature swings. But now a lot of heat encapsulation takes care of that. So the mechanical water pump underneath there is much better, and the entire engine has had a thorough going over, and as a result, now people are tuning these to huge amount of power, 500, 600, 800 horsepower and beyond, and they can take it. They're a durable, well-built, well-constructed engine, and quite honestly, the B58 with their 3-liter turbo 6 is now one of those workhorses that will last a long time, and you can even run it hard. Right there, that's the one right here. Unfortunately, this vehicle's coming to a close. 2007 till about 2021 is where you'll find the engine that is literally one of the longest lasting drivetrains that you'll ever find in any car manufacturer on this planet. As a matter of fact, it doesn't just share with this particular full-size SUV. You can get that same engine over in the Toyota Sequoia as well as the Toyota Tundra. And that's why the Tundra with the new 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6, a lot of people are scoffing at it. The reliability is not there, because the engine in this was so durable that a lot of people are just very, very disappointed. But this here is the vehicle of choice that has the ultimate in long life durability. As a matter of fact, Lexus ran about 1.3 million miles of durability testing, and they even had supercharger kits you could install for the Toyotas at the dealer that were fully warranted, because that core engine was so strong and powerful underneath. Fundamentally, it was so well built that it was literally never going to break. But here, what is this? Well, beautiful. We have the two-tone, we have the chrome and the colored. We have these beautiful step guards right there. I love the looks of these vehicles. As well, laser cut rims on there. And look at the large roof rack on top. Look at this beautiful piece. That's a little bit different unit right there. And as we cycle around, chrome, beautiful LEDs, Lexus, as we see, the LX 570. And the 570 basically represents the 5.7-liter naturally aspirated V8 engine that you find under the hood here, that again shares with Land Cruiser, Sequoia, as well as a Toyota Tundra. Now, reliability doesn't have to come boring, because you do get the big grille. Some love, some don't, but look at the big, beautiful headlights on this unit. Also, more detail, and even more detail around here. There's a lot of detail on the finishing of this front of this vehicle here. You get the pop-up lights, it's the headlight washers right there, as you can see. Beautiful detailing. I like the way they finish that off. Very nice. And then you get this very sharp hips right here, down, coming down the center of the hood. A very, very aggressive looking unit. Fold away mirrors. Of course, you get the high gloss piano finishing right there. And this vehicle simply is not boring. It's a little thirsty, a little heavy on gas, but it will run forever. But if you want to get your hands on one of the longest lasting V8 engines in the luxury car segment, this is it. Nobody will beat this vehicle for longevity, for lifespan. This is it. Reliability, slightly heavier in fuel, but parts just generally don't wear out. The vehicle's over-engineered, under-stressed, and will last forever because it's the 3UR-FE in this particular format. And with all of that said, right there, why are used BMWs so cheap? If they're that reliable and they're that great, what's going on? You definitely want to see that. Hope to see each and every one in the next one. See you real soon. Bye-bye.